Welcome to the Breakdown Podcast. My name is Brandon Miracle. We are doing a prediction show for tomorrow's Nintendo Direct. Joining me today, if you look south of me in the video version, actually, these are only going to be a video version this time, Paul Anderson. And if you look to my right in the video, you'll see the beautiful face of Logan Welliver. Hey guys, we've been starved for a Nintendo Direct for a long time, probably since last year, if you don't count the mini Direct that we had. So I'm pretty excited. I don't know about you guys.
It's got Direct in the name. It's a Direct. You can't be so partial. You can't make the mini Direct feel bad about itself.
I love Nintendo Directs, and I don't want it to feel bad about itself. I love you, Nintendo Direct.
Love Room Arcade.
So we'll get right into our predictions. You know, it's been a long time since we've had a Nintendo Direct. The Nintendo Direct Mini that we had last month detailed a lot of third-party games. And it's because of that, and, you know, the fact that this is only a few weeks later since that Direct, that I think that we're going to see a significantly higher focus on first-party content, and maybe second-party content. That's just what I assume based on what took place. I don't know if you guys kind of feel that same way, or if you have your own feelings before we get into the actual predictions.
I have a lot of feelings.
Okay.
Same here, kind of.
My expectations right now are kind of like sub-middle. Not like... I'm not expecting the world from this, just to be honest.
Mine's probably a ways below yours. Mine's probably like, this is as low as I can get. That's where my expectations are.
The reason I feel differently is because why would we have a Nintendo Direct if they don't have anything to talk to us about?
Because they have
right. So I think...
Well, you know, can't really agree with that, but we'll get to that.
The second biggest thing they will talk about is Mario Tennis Aces. And then outside of that, I think we might get one thing that we either want to know about more, that's been mentioned before, or maybe something smaller that's entirely new. But I'm definitely tempering my expectations on the low side because I'm trying to get a feel of what Nintendo's trying to do, and I think they're erring on the side of caution because they already have a lot of momentum. And so they can give us a little bit and tease us a little bit, and I think they'll come out on top. So okay. I think they're holding back. So when things are ready to go, they're like, here it is. It's coming out soon, and I don't think those things are ready yet. And I think they will hold some things for E3. So I think this is just to hold us over, you know, for maybe the next 3 months until we hit, you know, that E3 weekend.
That's true. You know, we're only 3 months away from E3, so they're probably not going to tell us everything. E3 is typically
but then after E3, we're only 12 months away from E3. It's only
right.
It's only so much time. It's like, okay, when's the next E3?
Well, just to kind of break things down, E3 usually details the second half of the year. So if we're going to expect anything, I wouldn't expect anything maybe past September. I think that's probably a safe assumption. They might tease one or two things past the half of the year, but I would not expect anything maybe beyond June and at the most September. And to answer the comment, yes, Gaming Table is done. There will be a video of that later this week, so check out that on the channel. So getting into the actual predictions, we're going to start out with our expectations. We're going to go, I think we should go maybe like one person at a time, give us one expectation that we have, and just kind of go down the line. And then we'll get to our big boy predictions, things that we really want to happen, but maybe are kind of out of the realm of possibility or less likely to happen. So first of all, I want to bring up the fact that Nintendo, just right out of the gate, you know, they're saying, you know, Mario Tennis Aces, Switch games, and then the one elephant in the room, Nintendo 3DS. I love Nintendo 3DS, don't get me wrong, but 3DS has been out for almost 8 years now. That is old. But they're still making games for this console. It was incredibly successful. So obviously they want to kind of keep keep that as a sales buffer while Nintendo Switch kind of finds its footing. Though I would argue it already has, considering it surpassed the lifetime sales of Wii U. A few months ago, we heard a rumor that a Nintendo 3DS title was in development, and that it was a Legend of Zelda remake of Link's Awakening from the Game Boy. We've heard nothing of this since the rumor initially came out, and that's why I believe that will be one of the 3DS games that we hear about tomorrow. Obviously developed by Grezzo.
So you think there's like a really good chance, because right off the bat they were like, "Hey, we're still talking about 3DS," you know? So you think there's something significant to say?
Given
that Zelda rumor, that was in response to them asking for, a Link Between World like review word highlights, right? Isn't that what generated that?
I'm confused. Say that again.
I remember there was some rumor about there being a new Zelda game in development because they asked like reviewers for highlights or short sentences that they can use as more marketing.
Oh, I can't remember the exact source of that rumor. I do remember something about A Link Between Worlds because they were working on the Nintendo Selects edition of that game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up, is if that was what sparked that rumor, then
I can't remember specifically, but I don't think they were tied. I can look it up, but I do think that's still a big possibility, because the last game that Grezzo would have done a remake for was Majora's Mask, and that came out in, was it 2014? Because it launched alongside the new Nintendo 3DS, and that was quite some time ago already. And Grezzo, they're the ones who developed that new 3DS IP that came out last year, right? I forget the name of it, but Ever Oasis?
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to handle a remake while they were developing something like that. Or maybe Grezzo's not even the team that developed this in the first place. That's assuming it exists. I do have one other 3DS prediction, and it's kind of a throwaway, but I think it's likely to happen still. I think there might be some kind of just Pokemon spin-off game that gets announced. Some like small-time 3DS Pokemon game, to kind of...
It's definitely not a risky prediction.
Yeah, this is something they've done time and time again. We've got Pokemon Shuffle, Pokemon Troze. It could be like a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game, or maybe Pokemon Ranger. Who knows? I think that's still possible. There's a large Pokemon fan base who's still on Nintendo 3DS because they don't have anything quite yet on Switch outside of Pokken. So I feel like if there's another Pokemon game that's a spin-off, that's probably where it's headed right now. And as far as 3DS is concerned, that's really all I've got.
Yeah, nice. So this is funny. I think I didn't know what to think. I was like, oh, they're talking about 3DS. Like I had essentially like moved on from my 3DS. Like, I mean, there's some of the back catalog that I want to get around to playing eventually, and finding it on sale. But I honestly, I was like, wait, there's more 3DS games? So, I mean, I literally wrote down for expectations, another Mario Party that no one will play or like.
Okay. You know what? You're not too far off of kind of my wavelength there. But my outcome is a little bit different than yours. Wasn't Mario Party the Top 100 first announced last April? Because I think it was a direct last year before E3. I could be wrong, but it was in the summertime.
Was it that long ago?
I think so. Wasn't it? It was the first direct that they did in that kind of quick news headline style.
And they just kind of threw it in there.
Yeah, I remember that pretty clearly. I think that was in April. I could be wrong. But who knows? My different outcome, though, is that the Mario Party throwaway game will actually be on Switch and not 3DS. But there's still,
it won't be Mario Party 11.
It's still, there's a still big possibility that it'll be Mario Party throwaway game. But who knows? If it's Mario Party 11 and they try something new, maybe get out of the car, try something new that's good, that'd be nice. But I don't
like they don't have to do all the same things that they did for Mario Party like 1 through 8, but like not
Don't
the
do what
car.
you've been doing.
Do something clever and fun and independent. I don't. Yeah, more
Make
mini
us
games.
hate our friends.
Yeah, that's really. We don't have. It doesn't have to be extremely balanced or anything like that. Nobody's ever played those games because they were fair. The RNG was always awful, and it's like, oh, I played fantastic the entire thing. I won all the mini games, and yet I still end up in last place.
Nintendo, bonus points if you can break up our friendship with the next Mario Party game. Challenge.
Okay, so I have a little bit of an update.
Break up arcade.
I have a little bit of an update on The Legend of Zelda. So there's an update to the original article saying that the game was supposed to come out this year, which would have been last year, but due to the focus on Breath of the Wild and the DLC, it was delayed to next year to change the gameplay to a more open approach. Game is being developed by Grezzo, inspired heavily by Link's Awakening. It could be considered a remake, but inspired by Breath of the Wild, and it will be bundled with a new Nintendo 2DS.
Okay.
And will launch in the first 6 months of the year.
That was actually my question, is like, okay, so they've already done like 2 Zelda ports to the 3DS. So it would make sense that they either do another Zelda port or something like of a departure, like maybe like a remake, like Metroid Samus Returns was a remake.
That was kind of the impression I was getting from reading that article just now, is that it's not exactly a remake, but it's more like a reimagining.
Yeah, like just changing things and maybe adding a few elements here and there, and then obviously making it more open, finding out how to like interweave like the story in that way and shape or form, just based on the fact that like, hey, here's Breath of the Wild and here's a bunch of new ideas. So like, okay, let's give them a little freedom to develop an almost original Zelda title.
And I'd be kind of down for that. I had a lot of fun with A Link Between Worlds. Great return to form for the classic Zelda games, and I don't think we're done with those. And I think if we're to get another iteration, kind of coming out on 3DS makes sense for right now. Maybe a future top-down Zelda game would be on Switch, but logically, I think it would end up on 3DS first. Yeah. Especially if it's a remake or reimagining.
Right.
But enough about that. Paul, did you have any 3DS predictions?
Well, building off what you guys said, I'm actually kind of expecting that, if anything, like they'll probably take a little bit of time to talk about Detective Pikachu.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know offhand if that's something that they've mentioned in a direct specifically anytime recently. So
it wasn't even announced in a direct. It was announced like the day or two after the mini direct.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that would make sense. If anything makes sense, Detective Pikachu makes sense to show.
I took some time on their website today to kind of go down through and see what they had like already announced, and that was like the one that for the 3DS that really stood out to me. With that though, I was also kind of expecting something first party. Clearly, Nintendo does not want us to put down our 3DSs yet, and they haven't gotten the memo that I'm trying to retire it. So I'm expecting something not necessarily huge or groundbreaking, but something that will compel me to buy another game, continue to play it. I think Mario Party and Zelda were you guys' suggestions. Either of those would be it. Well, Zelda would. Mario Party maybe not, but
I'd probably skip Mario Party, but I would definitely jump at the opportunity to play a new top-down Zelda game. Especially if it's a Grezzo developed game, because their editions of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are absolutely top notch.
They have a pretty good, I imagine they would have a pretty good handle on what the series is supposed to be after 2 full remakes.
Well, I think they developed Triforce Heroes as well.
They're on top of it then.
You are right. Yeah, they did.
They did a great job with that game. A lot of people disagree, but I had a lot of fun with that game myself. So I would trust them to go ahead and make a new top-down Zelda game.
Yeah, no, I think at this point they've kind of like earned that right. You know, with that Nintendo IPs, they're so careful with them that it makes sense that they would do some remakes. The game's already there. You just have to recreate the assets and make it feel good. And that's not like a ton to handle, especially when you're remaking Nintendo 64 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just got to build some assets. So
there's no way
imagine...
newer port that I'm not going to buy it and play it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 100% chance if they make it, I will come.
Actually, that's another thing. I need to get Majora's Mask 3D and Ocarina of Time 3D, especially now that Ocarina of Time is like base like $20. Like
Ocarina and A Link Between Worlds are selects now, Nintendo selects.
Well, I got A Link Between Worlds like the night it came out.
Oh, remember that, both of us did, yeah.
Yeah, we downloaded it that night, and then I think I beat it in a week.
I beat it in one day, and then I beat it again the day after.
Did you do it on the New Game Plus, the hard mode?
Yeah, I did the hero mode right afterwards.
Hero mode, right. Okay.
I honestly, like, going forward with top-down Zelda games, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to have Nintendo themselves working on those. I think it's kind of logical maybe to give that to a second-party or even a third-party developer and then have Nintendo publish those going forward. Put all of that main developer focus into the next big Zelda game.
Right. Well, I'm reading some information on Triforce Heroes. I'm actually just on the wiki page, but you know, it says developed and published by Nintendo. It looks like Nintendo EPD, Entertainment Planning and Development, which, you know, that's, you know, Breath of the Wild developer, and then assistance from Grezzo.
Okay.
So it looks like Grezzo kind of maybe came along, and then it's like, okay, well, you screwed with Triforce Heroes, and now here's the next process. It's, you know,
after 3 games, I think they can have the badge of
they
confidence.
know how to make a Zelda game.
Yeah. Are there any other 3DS expectations? A new Nintendo 3DS model will probably get announced.
I really
let's needlessly extend the lifespan of
I don't mean a new like rendition. I just mean like a special edition.
Oh. Yeah, maybe like there's a Zelda themed one. You know, if this Zelda rumor is turns out to be true and they reveal like this Grezzo developed top-down Zelda, then I could imagine that it would come with a bundle that would come with a new 2DS and it would look like Zelda.
Any other 3DS thoughts before we move on to Nintendo Switch?
I tried to not have some.
I think ultimately they're like throwing 3DS owners like a bone, you know, at this point. Like they said, oh, well, we need a reason to sell all these 2DSs because we weren't sure that the Switch was necessarily going to be a success. So we're still going to bank on the 3DS. And okay, we still got to develop some 3DS games. Oh, we got some in the back. Yeah, about time to pull those out and throw them into the wild.
They saw the Switch was a success, and so they stopped development on Pokemon Sun and Moon 3.
Okay,
Pokemon Sunnier and Moonier.
Pokemon Extra Sun and Extra Moon. So kind of moving on and kind of rolling into Nintendo Switch. Since let's see, I can't remember. Did I start off 3DS? Logan, let's have you start off Switch.
Okay. You know, right off the bat, I'm anticipating obviously Mario Tennis Aces. I think we'll get a little bit more information on it. I think we'll get maybe like an extra game mode, maybe a little bit more insight into the single player experience and some of the systems. I think that'll be one of the larger segments, as they'll be explaining some of that stuff and maybe reveal some extra characters. I think they're going to give us the kind of final blowout for Kirby Star Allies, because that comes out like a little over a week from this Direct. And okay, those are easy ones, right?
Yeah.
I think we'll see more of Yoshi.
Okay.
I think we will see a subtitle. I don't think it'll be Yoshi working title. I think it'll be Yoshi
I don't know. It's pretty catchy.
Cloth Kingdom. I don't friggin' know.
I think this
When is Yoshi slated to come out?
It does not have a date yet, or even
Yeah,
just
I think
2018.
it's just 2018. Yep.
Gotcha.
It looks to me like Yoshi is like being framed as a sequel to Yoshi's Story, so maybe it'll just be like Yoshi's Story book or something like that.
Right. Outside of that, I think we will see a bunch more Nindies. One thing I'm actually anticipating is I'm anticipating that Stardew Valley might blow the lid off their multiplayer at this event.
Okay.
I think it's a great way to blow that off the lid because it did so well on the Switch.
And multiplayer is first on Switch after PC, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So I anticipate that we will get the full multiplayer explanation, and then I think we will also get a release date, or maybe a month, where it'll be like, well, it's coming out at this time, but not at this time, around this time.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll get some other Indies, maybe some newer games that either weren't on the Switch, maybe one or two that just have never been, talked about. So some new ones. And then I think we'll get another port. I don't know what it is. It's just going to be another port.
We do have a couple games from Wii U that still need to kind of come over. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Xenoblade Chronicles X.
I could see that. Grezzo. Put too much on their plate. And the funny thing is I'm not even anticipating that they talk about like Donkey Kong Country. Because again, it's a port. They've already talked about it.
I would hope that they didn't talk about Donkey Kong Country because I'm tired of hearing about Donkey Kong Country.
I honestly think I'm expecting them to spend a needless amount of time, and needless is probably like a minute overall, but I'm expecting them to stop on Donkey Kong, Hyrule Warriors, and Dark Souls just because they know it'll annoy the hell out of us.
I think Dark Souls is okay because that's something that has never been on a Nintendo platform before.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of need to show that off to the audience. But like with Donkey Kong, they showed us everything we need to know about the port, and that's that there's a new funky mode. There's nothing else.
Hyrule Warriors, like I imagine they'll stop and talk about it, though. Like at this point, they don't need to. You don't need to.
It'll just be a reminder saying, "Hey, they're coming, and they'll be out at this date, this date, and this date." Nintendo did say in their their preemptive text for the Nintendo Direct that they're focusing on games coming out this year. They didn't even usually they say coming out this spring, summer, or fall, but they said year. They're kind of not setting expectations the way they typically do in that sense. So I don't really know.
Well, I mean, maybe they are. Maybe they're being purposefully ambiguous due to the fact that maybe they do have one or two surprises that's gonna knock our socks off.
Or maybe that doesn't have a date yet. Maybe some of these games aren't like solidified.
But I could definitely see like just maybe one more significant title that they reveal and they talk about that they haven't talked about before. That comes out, holiday, just one thing. But obviously, I think they definitely have more for this year than what they're going to be talking about.
They're definitely saving their big holiday game for E3. That is a tradition. Kind of going into my expectations a little bit. I do anticipate we might hear a little bit about some DLC for some games, Mario and Rabbids. We know that there's that Donkey Kong Story DLC that's supposed to be coming this year. We got a teaser trailer for that already in the Direct Mini. I'd like to see them kind of touch base on that and give us a little bit of extra information. More DLC. This is going a little bit into want territory, but I think we might get another little trailer of Splatoon 2 DLC. Because I think we've expended all of the DLC that they kind of promised was coming. And that
I was actually just kind of thinking that we need more Splatoon DLC.
Yeah, and that year of DLC that we're supposed to be getting is not up yet. We got a couple months left, so there's probably a couple things that we don't know about that maybe they could just drop in a trailer and say, here, this is coming later on in the summer.
More dualies. Yeah.
And the other game that I am expecting some DLC for, well, this is the one that's more in the want territory, but that's Super Mario Odyssey. There's that huge data mine that showed all of those costumes that are supposed to be in the game, but they're not in there yet. One of them's based on the Satellaview, which is awesome, by the way, because Satellaview is this awesome piece of Nintendo history that's just kind of gone, and kind of seeing Nintendo recognize that's pretty cool. But I anticipate that there'll be some paid premium Super Mario Odyssey DLC, and maybe we'll get some extra kingdoms, or maybe it'll just be like a moon dump, some new moons available.
Take my money.
Yeah.
Honestly, if that was the biggest news that they had in the entire direct, I think I'd be okay. I just want more Mario Odyssey. I want more reasons to go back to that game, and I think I've only put 35 hours into Mario Odyssey. I haven't, there's still a few challenges that I can do. But just give me more. I want to give Nintendo more money so I can play more Mario.
I'd honestly be surprised if they didn't jump on the opportunity for more Odyssey DLC and maybe something a little bit more substantial. Quite honestly, Luigi's Balloon World might seem small on the surface, but it actually really is kind of a substantial DLC. Go in there and play it. It's pretty great.
Well, I finally got the chance to actually do it, and the rankings and the leveling up, being able to find more balloons, and then finding the best path to get to those, and then executing it. I was like, this is actually quite cool.
There's a whole infrastructure built for it, so they put the time into making it happen.
Yeah, it was not just something they slapped on. It was something they thought about. It's like, how do we make this compelling? So good on you, Nintendo.
I think Odyssey will get maybe 1 or 2 DLC packs before they say, okay, this game is complete. We're moving on to the next Mario game. Assuming that there's just one Mario team right now, because I'll 150% guarantee there's a 2D Mario game in development right now, whether it be Mario Maker or not. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's developed by a different team. And maybe they kind of work on that while they fill us with Odyssey DLC going forward. I'd be okay with that.
Oh, yeah.
That's really all the DLC that kind of came to mind. Just the Odyssey, Mario & Rabbids, and Splatoon 2. I still kind of have a small hankering for some Mario Kart 8 DLC. But at this point, I'm not expecting it anymore.
I still want that battle stage that's just fighting on the Wii U, and it slowly becomes the Nintendo Switch.
I do have one more expectation kind of prediction for Nintendo Switch, and that's Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem for Switch got announced just a long time ago, and we've seen nothing for it, and it's supposed to come out this year. And I think Fire Emblem's the kind of game that they show before E3. I don't think that's a kind of show at E3 kind of game. Despite the sales numbers it pushes, I would expect to see that beforehand. And I don't know if this will be like a full reveal. Maybe it'll just be a tease. We'll actually get a small look at the game, and just a reminder that it's actually coming. And maybe that's it.
I think that is the title with the highest notoriety that I am anticipating from Nintendo currently this year. So I put that I'm not expecting it. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised to see it. So it kind of occupies that space between, again, what I'm expecting and what I really want. So I won't be disappointed if I don't see it, but I wouldn't be surprised, again, if they did show it off.
I think if there's anything post E3 that they're going to reveal right now, it's going to be Fire Emblem. They're going to show off a little bit of that. That's the furthest out thing that I'd imagine them talking about before E3.
Given that they announced Fire Emblem so long ago, I'd honestly be surprised if we didn't see it, because it's just kind of been sitting in this vault in limbo for months. And wasn't Fire Emblem for Switch announced before the Switch?
It was announced with Hyrule, or not Hyrule Warriors, but Fire Emblem Warriors. I think they were announced at the same time.
Yeah, there was that Fire Emblem.
There was a Fire Emblem Direct.
Remember
yeah.
that?
That's where it was announced. I just can't remember if that took place before the January Switch reveal or after.
All I know is it confused me when actually pre-ordering, because I wasn't sure when I pre-ordered Hyrule Warriors. It'll always be Hyrule Warriors. When I pre-ordered Fire Emblem Warriors, I thought I was pre-ordering the Fire Emblem main game. Yeah.
Yeah. This probably didn't have any box art, which probably didn't help.
Yeah.
You know, given the Switch's kind of different platform, it's an HD system. We haven't had a console Fire Emblem game since Radiant Dawn on the Wii. I'm kind of excited to see where they go with Fire Emblem and how they kind of expand on the series in new ways, take advantage of the platform. I'd like to see a little bit more online integration. The 3DS had some versus modes that were available online, kind of buried away in menus. I got a chance to play that a couple times, and I had fun with it. I think if they did like a full scale like Fire Emblem versus mode that was online, maybe with like a leaderboard or something, that'd be really cool, and be perfect fit for a home console. So if they do any kind of evolution with Fire Emblem, that's kind of where I'd want to see it go, because I honestly don't know what else they could do. Paul, do you have any other Switch expectations that we haven't covered?
You mean predictions?
Well,
Yes,
predictions that are an expectation.
Gotcha.
Predictions that seem plausible, and you're not just...
Yeah.
Definitely something indie. There's definitely going to be some indie event there. I'm going to guess with Dark Souls just around the corner that they're probably going to kind of hype up another port. Like
a third-party port?
Yeah. I'm also anticipating a first-party port.
Yeah. Well, there's a rumor going around right now about Diablo 3 getting ported to Switch.
Yeah,
that's and it's coming from Eurogamer too, so they have a pretty good track record.
Yeah, and this would be the time for that.
I think for the third-party community, they need to keep rolling out these third-party ports, keep throwing them kind of somewhere front and center. Now that they've unveiled Dark Souls, if they show a little bit of that, but I think it's about time that they'll start rolling out the next one on a long horizon.
Fair enough.
Like I said, I'm also expecting some first-party port. Not sure what. Probably something like Mario Maker, or something from the Wii U era that we need to see.
Pokemon Rumble World.
Is there a Wii U port specifically that you'd like to see? Maybe
it's still Mario Maker.
Okay.
Didn't get a chance to play that, so I want to. I own it. I didn't get a chance to play it, so I'd like to see that kind of come back with new life and experience it at its height.
Yeah, they kind of shut down Miiverse right as soon as you got there.
Yeah, I'd also be fine if they decided to roll out Color Splash, a port of Color Splash. I'd like to play that game.
Yeah, the Wii U had like absolutely no additional innovation when it came to the creation of Color Splash. Honestly, I'd rather just play it on my a regular controller. I have a high opinion of Color Splash, not like an extremely high opinion, just a higher opinion than I had with Sticker Star. I hate Sticker Star, and I like Color Splash.
Color Splash had a very enjoyable story, the little bit that I've gotten a chance to see.
It was also very visually impressive, and the world was a lot more creative than what Sticker Star was. Sticker Star was just so cut and dry. And Color Splash did a lot more to brighten that up.
Any Paper Mario game that isn't Thousand Year Door or the original Paper Mario, which I still have to finish, is a disappointment.
Thousand Year Door port?
Okay. Let me backtrack a little bit. Super Paper Mario was a decent game. I enjoyed that game.
I would argue that it's a good game.
It is. I would agree. It is a well-designed game.
They're all good games.
It's not the Paper Mario game that I wanted. Because after Thousand Year Door, everything's a disappointment.
I think we can give Super Paper Mario a little bit more credit because I think it came out just a couple just a couple years like after Thousand Year Door. It was not a big gap. So
I would not want to follow up Thousand Year Door.
Yeah. That's a
It's
hard
so
game to
good.
follow up. I wouldn't expect a Paper Mario game for a while, because Intelligent Systems is the main developer on that, and they are hard at work at Fire Emblem right now.
Yeah.
I'd probably expect a Paper Mario game right after Fire Emblem kind of runs its course.
Well, and then the question is, how many development teams does Intelligent Systems have?
They
Or
might
how
have
many can they split into at any given moment?
They must have a couple, because they recently released Fire Emblem Echoes: Shadows of Valentia on Nintendo 3DS. I'm pretty sure Intelligent Systems developed that. They had Fire Emblem Fates not that earlier before, and that was basically three
Right.
Fire Emblem games.
Yeah, I mean, Shadows of Valentia is Intelligent Systems, so it was in house.
They were busy for a couple years there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they must have a pretty significant, team. Because, I mean, even then, like, okay, Fire Emblem Fates came out in June of 2015, and then a little over a year later, Color Splash dropped.
I can't
There's
imagine.
no way they developed that game in like a year and 2 months.
I can't imagine the development time for Fire Emblem is like significant in comparison to Paper Mario, because Paper Mario is a lot more of a structured experience, while Fire Emblem is a checkerboard with little sprites on it with just well-designed battles.
The only
Right.
exception I can think to that is if they decide to kind of spruce it up, the presentation of it while it's on the Switch.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
okay. Also, something to consider is that there are 3 games that on the 3DS that were released by Intelligence Systems in a singular year. In 2015, they released Codename Steam, which I don't think was just Intelligence Systems, but again, part of the studio's working on it. Scratchmo, and then Fire Emblem Fates.
That explains Codename Steam all of a sudden.
Okay, so yeah, you're right. They must
So
they must have a fairly large team, or at least maybe a couple separate teams, so they can develop a couple games at a time.
Yeah, I mean, it says on here that as of 2017, they have 139 employees, which is
yeah.
more than enough. More than enough to.
That's like
to
3
have
or 4
several
teams
games.
worth.
Yeah.
So I guess before we go on to like our big desires, for Fire Emblem, since that's the game we all seem to kind of mutually agree is the most likely to appear, what do you want to see from Fire Emblem Switch? Like, what desires do you have for it?
same thing that I want from Pokemon. I just want to see it updated from the 3DS. I want it to take advantage of the hardware. It's got a lot more beef, a lot more specs behind it. I want to see that kind of reflected in it. So a lot more 3D, maybe some voice acting.
Well, Shadows of Valentia was fully voice acted, so I think that's the definite possibility for Fire Emblem on Switch.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I just want something, again, taking advantage of the hardware. I want to see, like, maybe something larger in scale. Something that's not so, like, confined. It's like, if you're playing mobily, you want shorter experiences. Well, maybe with, the power of the Switch, that they'll be able to kind of just make the presentation a lot smoother, and just, I don't have a ton of expectations. Just give me Fire Emblem and I'll be happy. But do more. I don't know what specifically I want out of it, though.
Let's shoot for 6 games this time instead of it just being 3 games in one.
Oh Lord!
Oh my God!
I would like to see Fire Emblem kind of take a significant approach to its story. While the story and the idea behind Fire Emblem Fates was really cool, the fact that they had 3 different stories kind of diminished the quality of each one. So let's get to one focused story and just make it really good.
I think that's where they need to improve the most, is just in storytelling. So far, of all of the Fire Emblem games I've played, the only memorable one is Awakening, for me.
Yeah, and Awakening is technically the last game in a trilogy of the original Fire Emblem games. It's the last of the Shadow Dragon arc, I guess, because you have the first one with Marth, the second one with Marth, and then this is the conclusion to that. You didn't really need as much context for that when playing the game, which was nice for us Americans because we didn't really get the opportunity for the first two. But I'd kind of like to see this game kind of stand on its own, be its own story. I want to see a start and a finish. On Wii they had on GameCube they had Path of Radiance, and then on Wii they had the sequel Radiant Dawn, and that was all one story featuring Ike, and that's cool. But that took a long time to get to the conclusion because it was split across two consoles. So let's just get one concise story. I think visually I'd kind of like to see the graphical style they have for their cutscenes in the Fire Emblem games. If we can achieve that just with the base visuals like they did in Fire Emblem Warriors, that's really all I'll ask for as far as the way it looks. That way everything's kind of uniform and it looks kind of nice. For how they expand on the gameplay, I don't know. I'm just excited to see what they do.
Holla.
So, any other Switch expectations before we move on into the big boy stuff?
I'm not expecting much. So no, I don't have any.
Okay.
Mario Tennis.
I don't have any more. I have a lot of hopes.
I predict there's going to be a Nintendo Direct tomorrow.
That's a good prediction.
Freaking genius.
So, now we move into the more pie in the sky kind of stuff. So, as far as predictions, what game or what thing could they announce that would just blow your socks off? What do you really want?
A fantastic Mario Party 11. And the 11, it'll be 2 Joy-Cons.
Oh, see, he's.
I think it's perfect.
The box there.
I think it's perfect.
Okay.
Well, what will happen is it won't actually. It'll just say 11, but then the ones will turn, and then you'll have Joy-Cons, and then all of a sudden they'll be playing Mario Party, and it'll be like, perfect. This is the Mario Party I always needed.
If they give us a Mario Party, it takes advantage of the Joy-Cons, takes advantage of the IR camera, and maybe even the HD Rumble. There's a lot of cool possibilities with that, so I'm totally on board.
A lot of cool mini games to do.
I want a Labo tennis racket.
Outside of that, there is one thing.
It's probably one of the things I was going to bring up. Oh, that's not what I was going to bring up. Okay.
What was it?
No, I think they're going to reveal F-Zero tomorrow. F-Zero Switch. It'll be a working title, right? Just be F-Zero like they've done with Yoshi and Kirby at first. Mm-hmm. They're like, okay, here's F-Zero, guys, you got it. And then they'll preface it and be like, hey, guys, it's still a racing game. There's still great racing, but it's also an open world game. And you're a bounty hunter, so you're going to do some freaking bounties. And then it'll be like, that's pretty cool. That's just what I want. It's funny because I haven't even played a ton of F-Zero. That is a world I want to exist in though.
Same here.
As Captain Falcon or anybody. I mean, who knows what they could do? You could still do Captain Falcon, but then again, Captain Falcon is, as I understand it, it's a title, isn't it? So
yeah, it's not his name; it's his rank.
Right. So potentially, maybe you throw the character who plays the main. Everybody knows this Captain Falcon, and he plays another character. But then your goal is to become Captain Falcon. Whatever avatar you choose.
Whoa.
So, just give me an open world to explore and do some other things other than just racing. Fill out the world. I think.
Mm-hmm. There was that rumor with Retro Studios earlier today where an employee was like, "My job's all about world building."
Yeah.
I'd be down.
I'm really hoping that's F-Zero.
Do it.
I'd be down for a Retro Studios F-Zero game.
Honestly, guys, what I really hope happens is they announce 2 F-Zero games. One of them goes on to become an F-Zero game. The other one accidentally becomes Mario Kart. Because those
Isn't that what happened with Mario Kart 8?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that sometime soon we'll get a Mario Kart 9. But I don't want that to come before getting an F-Zero, because it's a franchise that,
I don't think it will.
Logan, it's not something I've really played, but it's something I want to play. There's a strong desire for an F-Zero, and it's just, bring it to me, please. Take my money, give me F-Zero.
A strong online multiplayer racing experience, something that is apart from a kart racer, and that it just, everybody's like, oh yeah, this is so cool, we're going so fast, we're doing all these racing things. But then obviously, like, maybe you have an open world that also inhabits other people. Like, there's a fantastic precedence for this with the existence of something like GTA Online. You know, it's viable and it's profitable. I mean, this is the perfect time to capitalize on something like this.
You know, they could even tie this into their Switch Online launch, and they could kind of build something similar to Rocket League, where Rocket League has these championship seasons that you can participate online. What if they had like an actual F-Zero Grand Prix that you could participate in and just online races, and then someone actually becomes Captain Falcon?
I could not hand over $60 fast enough for that.
Yeah, I think it's something that I need. It's something that I want. Just please give it to me. You know, actually, somebody in the Facebook chat said, how about a new Diddy Kong game? Which I assume means Diddy Kong Racing.
I would be there in a heartbeat.
Wouldn't you, Brandon? Brandon.
I love Diddy Kong
Racing. Right
Racing.
now, if it's not an F-Zero game, I really want another Kid Icarus game.
From Retro Studios? Or just
I don't care from who. Retro Studio. I don't care who makes it. It just needs to be made. So I need another Kid Icarus.
So that's your big boy game that you need?
That's the big boy game that I need. That and Smash Bros.
I kind of echo that. You know, I'm a big fan of Kid Icarus Uprising. I've been pushing you, Logan, to play it for like my entire life, for 24 years, to get you to play Kid Icarus Uprising.
Even the years I didn't know you, you're like, where's Logan? And how can I get him to play this game?
Even in the years before it exists, Logan needs to play Kid Icarus.
Kid Icarus is the definition of good world building. The character interactions, just the things that are possible in the world. Kid Icarus Uprising does a fantastic job of telling you those things and doing it in fun ways.
It's impossibly well written.
Oh yeah, and I'm assuming it was the Nintendo Treehouse who localized the game. They did an incredible job on the script, and the voice performances were fantastic. We don't talk about football on this show. I'm sorry. Well, yeah, we want a Mario football game. Oh, we already have that. 2 of them. Yeah, I'd be kind of down for that. If Retro Studios is building that, I'd be excited. But I have one game. Well, I have 3 games that are desires, and only one of them I actually think might happen. First of all, you know, everybody wants Smash Bros. I'd love to see Smash Bros. I wouldn't expect Smash Brothers until E3. Just gonna throw that out there, but I'd be so happy to see that. There's 2 other games. One we know about, and the other one I just want really bad. So I'll start with the one that we know about. Pikmin 4 has been in development for eons, and it's still not here, even though it's supposedly close to finish and has been for like 2 years.
Was that a 3DS title?
No, they confirmed.
Okay,
they came right out and said that wasn't the game.
That'd be a good reason to pick up the 3DS again, but I don't want that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of time to show us Pikmin 4. That's, again, one of those games that I don't know necessarily if that's a show this off at E3 kind of game. They did with Pikmin 3, and I guess I'd be okay with that if they showed it at E3. I just kind of want to know if it's coming. Is it done?
The only way they'll show it off at E3 is if it's their main thing, and then it's an open world action RPG. Wasn't
Pikmin 3 the main thing of that year for E3?
I can't remember. I feel like them headlining with Pikmin 3 is like, we don't have any bigger titles right now.
That being said, Pikmin 3 was a good game.
Not to diminish the accomplishment that is the Pikmin series, because I love the first game to death. But those games have never been like huge in scope or anything like that.
Okay, I'm throwing out a prediction. Pikmin is going to be shown off tomorrow. It's going to be a port of the Wii U game.
I could see it.
Yeah.
I could see Pikmin 3 for Switch.
You know, they ported Pikmin 1 and 2 to Wii. It's only, it only makes sense. It's only natural that they would port Pikmin 3 up.
Yeah.
Let's do 1 through 3.
Oh, in a package? I'd be down.
Yeah, I never got to play 2. It's not self-serving.
Someone in the chat really wants you to shout them out, Paul. They're in the YouTube chat. They desire it.
I can't read them. Oh, that's Levi. Levi, hi, buddy.
He's the one telling us to talk about football.
I couldn't read the name on it for a second there.
So yeah, I think Pikmin 4 will probably be an E3 thing. If they want to tease it tomorrow, that'd be cool. If they give us a port of Pikmin 3, that's also okay. I have one more kind of big boy tease thing that I want to happen, and I know it's not, and I'm devastated, but I really want Animal Crossing.
Yeah, that was the one thing. Is like I didn't even want to mention it because I just
it hurts.
Like why would you stick your hand inside an open wound? It just doesn't make sense. So I wasn't even going to answer it. So thanks a lot, Brandon. Yeah, if there was anything for Switch that they could announce tomorrow, like even outside of like all these other crazy dreams, like, oh, what if we got a cool F-Zero game, or where's Metroid Prime? Like, give me Animal Crossing for Switch. It is. We're over 6 years now out, almost 6 years maybe out from New Leaf. It's been too long.
I honestly hope, I don't expect to see that tomorrow, but I do hope that would be a game they would launch alongside of Smash Bros. For the Switch Online. If you have those two titles, you basically sold this thing. I can't imagine anyone that would not be compelled by $20 for a year of online to play Animal Crossing with your friends and Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Except in this Animal Crossing, you're not just taking care of your town, you're actually ruling a country. And in the process of ruling this country, you get to choose the path, right? You get to choose to either develop it into democracy and be very capitalistic, or you go become a communist and you become a totalitarian dictator.
Animal Crossing X Civ.
Oh, real quick, Levi said, bruh, that ain't me. I don't know who this person who just kind of mashed their keyboard for their name is, but they want us to also talk about Jacob Robertson. He's at a birthday party, so we can't.
No, he's
does
never
say Dark
at a birthday
Ryoku,
party.
right?
He doesn't go to birthday parties.
Oh, right, he is a birthday party. That's right.
Yeah.
Get that mixed up in my head sometimes.
That does say Dark Ryoku, right?
Yeah, but there's another one. Oh.
Yeah, I can't explain that one, but Dark Ryoku, that is Levi. You're not fooling me this time, man.
Levi saying Animal Crossing Conquest. Let's see. If I recall, Animal Crossing New Leaf was announced in a Nintendo E3 Direct when that was first announced, so that could also be an E3 thing. But again, I just don't think Animal Crossing is the kind of game that shows well at E3.
Yeah.
At the very least, not something that you put on the show floor. But Nintendo's kind of changed the way that they handle this whole thing. We might end up with another E3 that's just one game E3. Please don't do that, by the way. But they've been doing that for the last couple of years, and I guess I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up doing it again. But who knows? This person really wants some dog treats. And they want Jacob, Devin, and Paul all on streaming instead. What? Why are you hating on me and Logan? This is my channel. This is my show, dang it.
Actually, there is another big one that I want to see. I want Wii Music Switch.
Wii Music Switch.
Goodbye.
If that's all they have at E3, I'm content.
Okay, I do have to be honest about one thing. You did kind of bring up something, Paul, that you reminded me. I've been watching PB and Jeff recently, and they've been playing Wii Sports Resort, and I just got like the hugest hankering for like a Switch Sports Resort. I think I think there's enough room for an experience like that on Switch. So I wouldn't be mad if that happened.
I think it comes down to price point. Like Wii Sports, I think they put that on Wii U, right? But you had to like, was it $5 per sport, $10 per sport, or you could like get it temporarily, something weird like that.
Say that again.
Wasn't it like they put Wii Sports on the Wii U, right?
Wii Sports? Wii Sports Club is what you're thinking of.
Yeah, and you could pay, you could like rent it, or you could buy each sport individually, right?
It had some weird pricing model.
I want not that. I just want like, I don't want to pay $60 for it. But if they could find a sweet spot, 40, 30, somewhere in there, I think is a reasonable price point for a port of Wii Sports. But it's something that, for $30-$40, I'd still buy it. I wouldn't pay the full 60 for it.
Oh, apparently we need Devin on since he's not white, but obviously Paul's black, so I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. As far as other big expectations or desires for tomorrow's Direct, and we've already established that our expectations aren't exactly high, a little subpar right now. Is there anything else that we haven't mentioned?
Maybe some technical side of things on Switch Online. I'm not really expecting it, but
yeah, I'm gonna say a hard. There is not going to be any Nintendo Switch Online information in this Direct at all. They won't even mention it.
We're still 6 months away from it. It would be nice.
I think if there's anything that we get about it, we will get it between this Direct and E3.
I was just thinking, like, I'm guessing they probably did say the price point.
It's $20 a year.
Yeah. The only other thing would be, hey, we're probably going to talk about this in this time frame in depth.
Okay. Yeah, I
could
see
that. I'm not saying that they're going to like actually start talking features and stuff. I'm talking like
they're going to announce an announcement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's so hard with Nintendo Switch Online because it's been delayed like a million times. They also want to know why you're so sexy, Paul.
I just can't help it.
See that? You just can't help it. Well, I think
legitimate problem.
It's all that donk. Well, I think that probably wraps up discussion here for our predictions for tomorrow's Nintendo Direct. Any last words before we close?
I love you.
Thanks.
I just want at least one surprise.
Just one
something
one
that
thing.
Even in our wildest dreams we couldn't expect. It doesn't have to be big. Just something really cool. Kind of like Labo. It's like nobody asked for this, but everybody was like, "Whoa, cool!" Like even if it's not for you, like I'd love at least one small thing that just comes out of left field. Maybe a new experiment, that Nintendo's been working on.
New IP.
Yeah, I'd like to walk away just kind of having an outline. This is what I'm looking forward to between now and E3.
Okay. Patrick in the comments, he really wants a new Wario game. I kind of echo that. Either like a Wario Land or a WarioWare type game. I really miss
Wario's World.
or Wario World, because that's a great underrated cult hit. That if you haven't played on GameCube, definitely do it because it's really fun. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling a WarioWare game. We need more party games on Switch. It's the perfect party platform. So I think WarioWare is a shoe-in.
You can't be a Karen without party games.
He's saying specifically a spiritual successor to Wario Land 3 and a difficult alternate Mario game. And then this guy who we still don't know who he is wants us to talk about how Xbox and PS4 are better than Nintendo. I would argue only one of those is true. I'm going to split you right down the middle there.
It's Linux,
See,
right?
But even then, that's such a subjective question. Like,
It is.
To try
Thorax.
to nail down objectively why one company is better than the other when they all have strengths and weaknesses.
Except Linux has no flaw in the gaming community. It is the ultimate gaming platform.
Levi says he wants Wario armor in Dark Souls. I'd be
Make it
down with that.
Waluigi, and I'm sold.
Oh, well, we need Wario and Waluigi.
Actually, that is the one last like big boy game that I want. I want a Waluigi spin-off title.
Please.
I will never not want that.
Everybody's a cheater but me.
Give us something like comical but dark. You know, something that, like,
I want something
we're gonna be
existential.
laughing at, and then we're gonna feel bad about laughing at it. You know,
Is it going to be?
Psychological
and it's
horror.
rated M. It has to be rated M.
It's about Waluigi's like sad life, and you know, it's really existential and it's interpersonal. Makes
Black
us
comedy.
Yes, exactly that kind of thing. Something that you'd see as like an art house movie. +1 to Linux. We got Adam in our Monster Hunter chat asking if anybody's hunting. Well, obviously we're live streaming, so that's not happening right now, Adam. But real quick, you guys need to come back tomorrow after the Nintendo Direct. We'll probably be on about 7 or 7:30 Central Time. We're going to talk about the Nintendo Direct, what we thought, give you the breakdown on some of the games that get announced, and just kind of how we feel about that. So definitely check us back out tomorrow. And also, the next episode of the Breakdown Podcast is broadcasting live on Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time. We have the developers of the video game Vulpine. They'll be on the show to talk about the development of their game and kind of just how that process is and what it's like to be just a development team of 2. So that'll be exciting. Definitely check us out for that. You can find us at our Twitter handles right below our videos here in the live stream. I'm at Babababs on Twitter. You can find Logan at LoggyDoves, and you can find Paul at Gunnysaurus. If you want to talk to us as a collective, you can find us on Twitter at Breakroom Arcade. Definitely check out the podcast and all your podcast sources as well. We do have a Discord server.
Website.
Go to the website. Go to our Discord server. There's a link to the Discord server on our website on the bottom. We'll talk to you in the Discord server. You can ask us questions, and we really just want it to be a place for fans to hang out. So definitely do that. We'll try and be in the Discord server as much as we can. And I think that's it, guys. So
Yeah.
Yep.
we'll definitely catch you guys later. We'll see you tomorrow. We're really excited for the Nintendo Direct, and I guess we'll see what happens. So don't break your backs, breaking the games, but for now, break time is over.